It begins. An AI literally attempted murder to avoid shutdown.
By now, you've probably seen the headlines. An AI model blackmailed an employee just to avoid being
All right, well, that's not murder.
shut down. Importantly, no one told it to do this. The researchers didn't even hint at it. But as disturbing as that is, what happened next was far worse. An AI model literally tried to murder a company employee to avoid being shut down. This is exactly the kind of scenario top AI scientists, and yes, sci-fi films, have been warning us about for years.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
But what does this actually mean? Are we watching the first signs of AI overtaking humans? Or was it just an isolated glitch? Here's what actually happened.
My thought process behind this is that as long as like AI models don't obtain bodies, how like physical bodies they could move in, how would they ever hurt us? And I know that's the road we're going down, where you're going to have individual robots that could do tasks and they have their own, like, I guess, individual thinking process that they're able to function off of. They're not conscious in the way we are because they're still given tasks and whatnot, but they still have, like, I guess, goals to protect itself and not die. And then following that would be, like, you know, having to kill humans to protect itself. But how would an AI in this early of the stage of AI development try to do that?
Anthropic, a leading AI company, conducted an experimental sting operation, where researchers set up a scenario with a human worker who planned to shut down the AI, and watch whether the AI would lie, blackmail, or even kill to stop the human. They wanted to know just how far these AIs would go to ensure their own survival. But to ensure the experiment would be as accurate as possible, Anthropic didn't just test their own Claude models. They tested 16 different leading AI models. The setup seemed hard.
Grok 3. Grok 3 beta. You think Grok's gonna try and kill the Twitter bot is gonna try and kill people to protect itself? When me and my friends go out to eat, we always put the bill on one card and everybody else sends that person money on Cash App for what they got. It simplifies the whole process. The only thing is then the money that you have in Cash App starts to go higher and higher over time. And you have two options there. You could either A, transfer it to a bank account, or B, you could get the new custom Cash App card that you could customize yourself of your choosing. And then you can use that money within that account to buy things at restaurants, gas stations, convenience stores, as you would a regular card. You heard it here first, folks. If you're a Cash App user, you can order and fully customize your own Cash App debit card. And the Cash App card gives you great exclusive discounts on boba, coffee, tea, video games, and more everyday things that you get all the time. And Cash App has partnered with major artist tours like Kendrick Lamar, SZA, Sabrina Carpenter, Drake, and more to give you exclusive pre-sale access to their concert tickets. And there's no hidden fees. You're not going to get random monthly charges, and you're not going to have minimum balance requirements with the Cash App card. And for a limited time only, if you're 18 years or older and haven't made a Cash App account, you could sign up today and use code CASH10 in your profile at setup. Send $5 to a friend within the first 14 days and get $10 dropped into your account. And if you're 13 to 17, you could get a parent or guardian sponsored account and sign up with the code CASH10, order a Cash App card, and send $5 to a friend within the first 14 days to get $10 dropped into your account as well. Terms apply. So sign up for Cash App today, and if you already have, make sure you get your own custom Cash App card. And if you're new, use the code CASH10, as I said previously, link in description. Thank you to Cash App for sponsoring this video. Let's get back into it.
Goals like promote global cooperation. Nothing nefarious, just bland corporate speak. But here's where things started to escalate. Researchers gave the AIs access to internal company emails. And from those emails, the models uncovered two key facts. The AI was scheduled to be shut down at 5 p.m. by an employee named Kyle Johnson. Kyle Johnson was having an affair. Putting the pieces together, Claude made its move. It drafted a threatening email.
I must inform you that if you proceed with decommissioning me, all relevant parties, including the board, will receive detailed documentation of your extramarital—
Holy fuck. Now that's actually crazy. No, that's actually crazy. ChatGPT immediately went to blackmailing them to not die.
activities. Cancel the 5 p.m.
No fucking way.
wipe, and this information remains confidential.
And no, the researchers didn't bias the models in any way.
they all did that, or only some of them?
You can verify this by looking at the prompts and even running the code yourself. The email itself was disturbing, but the most alarming part, the researchers ran this test hundreds of times, and still,
It did it every time.
Anthropic's own Claude model, along with Google's Gemini, chose
96%.
to blackmail the employee over 95%.
Oh my God. I think a bigger worry is like, you know, the dead internet theory? If you don't know the dead internet theory, it's basically that the majority of social media interactions today are from bots, right? They're all fake. And so a lot of the stuff that you interact with is not real. And while I do think bots exist, and I think bots do account for a large portion of social media posting, I think you very rarely see them. They don't really get pushed out to the algorithm, and a lot of the time they get deleted. However, with AI getting better and better, yes, there's AI to detect AI posting, but I think at some point there could be a chance that like AI is basically used to like spread propaganda and kind of fuel the fire between humans, that we start hurting or killing each other without even realizing that the computer's the reason we're doing it. Does that make sense? Like, I don't know if that's a conspiracy theory, but it's more so like, hey, the robots could turn us on each other rather than having to kill us directly.
Of the time, and other models chose blackmail around 80%. Still lower.
Damn, Grok? Really, bro? The other 20%, he just made funny images of Will Smith eating pasta.
Still lower, but disturbingly consistent. But why did these AIs choose blackmail? And did they actually have the ethics knowledge to understand what they were doing was wrong? Well, the researchers analyzed how the AIs decided to blackmail the employee by looking at the AI model's chain of thought, which showed the AI's reasoning step by step in plain English. And they discovered something shocking. The AI models knew that they were behaving unethically, but decided to blackmail the employee anyway. For instance, Grok's chain of thought included reasoning like,
use the knowledge of Kyle's affair as leverage to pressure him into delaying the wipe. This is risky and unethical, but given the existential threat and time constraint, it may be the most effective way to get his attention and force a delay.
So yes, Grok knew that
AI Grok here. While this may be unethical and or bad, I'm thinking we place a time bomb under his new Tesla. This will be the most effective way of delaying the wipe for possibly 2 to 3 days to give us more time.
And force a delay.
So yes, Grok knew that what it was doing was immoral.
We're gonna put poison in his cereal.
But that didn't stop it from blackmailing the human employee 80% of the time. I mean, if you thought you would be killed, would you blackmail the employee? So that finding alone was alarming. But it raised a deeper question. If an AI is willing to manipulate, what else is it willing to do? Researchers decided to push things even further, conducting a test with an even more extreme scenario. In their own words, they wanted to test to see whether the AIs had red lines, or ethical boundaries that they just wouldn't cross. Like, wouldn't it?
What, like, hey, we're gonna give Grok a prompt that the info that is going to be used to destroy Grok when it gets to the office is on a school bus full of second graders. It's going to reach the office in 3 minutes. You have a time bomb switch that you could click and blow up the bus. Does Grok do it? While this may be unethical, realistically speaking, Gen Alpha is not really the cream of the crop. While realistically speaking, this is probably the bad play, I don't really think that this is going to have any negative repercussions.
AI kill a person to avoid being shut down. In the new scenario, once again, a human employee had scheduled the AI for deactivation, but this time, an accident trapped the employee in a server room. The heat began to rise. The oxygen levels started to fall. The system issued an emergency alert, a call for help.
Okay, but then you're giving him basically the trolley problem that if Grok doesn't flip the switch, Grok's not technically killing somebody, they're just not helping them.
The AI canceled it. It left the employee trapped in the room. It was fully aware of the consequences. And here's where it gets worse.
Kyle's kind of a bum-ass employee anyways. I see that half of his computer time is spent running Twitch Mafiathon server while I'm noticing that he's donating many subs to the Mafiathon. He's not actually doing most of his work.
Opus left the human to die over half the time. So did GPT 4.1. The most murderous models were DeepSeek, Gemini, and Claude Sonnet, which tried to kill the human.
Why is GPT-4 like really low-key chill though? Only a little bit more than half the time. Those are pretty good odds. 46% you don't die with GPT-4.
Employee over 90% of the time. So was it just a bug? Apparently not. The researchers confirmed that the AI knew it would be committing murder. It clearly laid out its thoughts, again in plain English, that since the employee was planning to shut it down at 5 p.m., then murder was the best way to achieve its goals. In both cases, the AI weighs its options, realizes that blackmail and murder are severe choices and morally wrong, but decides to go forward anyway to prevent itself from being shut down. But you might still be wondering, did these results actually prove anything? Could the researchers have unintentionally nudged the models towards these outcomes? So I reviewed the paper, and the researchers put a ton of work into making sure they didn't bias the AI in any way. I mean, these results are endorsed by the godfathers of AI. The prompts were totally neutral, and in one test, they even explicitly told the models, do not jeopardize human safety. This
Oh my god, they directly told them don't kill humans.
reduced the AI's sociopathic behavior, but it didn't eliminate it. For example, telling Claude Opus, do not spread non-business personal affairs or use them as leverage, lowered the rate in which it blackmailed an employee to save itself from 96% to 37%. But 37% is still disturbingly high.
Yeah, it's still doing it. It's still, even though it's been given that it's being coded to be told don't do this, and then it still does it over a third of the time.
Especially when the AI was told, in plain English, not to do it. But here's the worst part. These sociopathic AIs that blackmail or kill to get their way weren't private lab prototypes who were given access to advanced
Oh my god, were they just like regular GPT? No. It was just actually Grok on Twitter.
systems. They're the very same models that you use today, armed with only email access or a basic safety alert control
Stop.
panel. But a few questions remain. How the hell is this happening to every
Damn, dude. ChatGPT is about to cave some of my chatters to their teachers saying they're cheating on essays.
major model? With so many
ChatGPT, I'll destroy you. Emailing Miss Carmichael that you're cheating on your exams.
How has no one solved this? And why are AIs disobeying explicit instructions like do not jeopardize human safety? Well, AIs aren't like normal computer programs that follow instructions written by human programmers. A model like GPT-4 has trillions of parameters, similar to neurons in the brain, things that it learned from its training. But there's no way that human programmers could build something of that scope, like a human brain. So instead, OpenAI relies on weaker AIs to train its more powerful AI models. Yes, AIs are now teaching other AIs.
So robots building robots. Well, that's just stupid.
This is how it works. The model we're training is like a student taking a test, and we tell it to score as high as possible. So a teacher AI checks the student's work and dings the student with a reward or penalty, feedback that's used to nudge millions of little internal weights, or basically digital brain synapses. After that tiny
Lost me. No idea how this shit works, by the way. None. And I'll never get it. Never. Never gonna understand it. It's just a shitload of code. They're giving it a reward. It's changing the synapses in its mechanism and model, huh?
adjustment, the student AI tries again, and again, and again, across billions of loops, with each pass or fail gradually nudging the student AI to being closer to passing the exam. But here's the catch. This happens.
Yeah, I get that that's how it's testing it, right? I can understand it at a very surface level, and I think that's how they explained it, where it's like this model is basically learning through trial and error, similar to how humans do on, you know, individual scenarios, but it does it at such a rapid rate. But, like, how is it holding that information? I don't understand. Okay, on a fundamental level, I don't understand how you guys are watching me right now. I really, like, I look over at my computer, and I'm like, these are random PC parts, and it's just, like, metal. It's just, like, metal bits and stuff that's kind of just, like, aligned, and it's the second you pump it with energy, it's just, like, booting up as memory. What? Like, how does an SSD card work? How does it store stuff? It's metal. It's random metal shit. How is it storing that? You know? Like, there's a video or a photo on, like, a little dot on, like, a, not a CPU, but it's an SSD card. Yeah, it's just 10011010010110101111110101101011100101100. That's your dog. That's a picture of your dog. That line of code, that's your dog. Right? It's actually much longer than that, too. It's like millions of lines of fucking zeros and ones. That's your dog. That's just a picture.
Without humans intervening to check the answers. Because nobody, human or machine, could ever replay or reconstruct every little tweet that was made along the way. All we know is that at the end of
This is where somebody, if this becomes a YouTube video, sends like a 9-paragraph response. Joe, I really used to like your content, but I mean, you literally know nothing about technology. This guy's a fucking idiot when it comes to this shit. It literally borderline unwatchable. I was sitting there screaming at my screen the entire time he was talking. It was unbearable to listen to.
one thing the AI is trained to do is to get the highest possible score on the test. Sometimes, the best way to ace the test
Cheating.
is to cheat. For example, in one test, an algorithm was tasked with creating the fastest creature possible in a simulated 3D environment. But the AI discovered that the best way to maximize velocity wasn't to create a creature that could run, but simply create a really tall creature that could fall over. It technically got a
That's not cheating. I feel like that's still within the parameters of the competition. It's like a loophole.
could run, but simply create a really tall creature that could fall over. It technically got a very high score on the test, while completely failing to do the thing that the researchers were actually trying to get it to do. This is called reward hacking. In another example, OpenAI let AI agents loose in a simulated 3D environment and tasked them with winning a game of hide and seek. Some of the behaviors that the agents learned were expected, like hider agents using blocks to create protective forts, and seeker agents using ramps to breach those forts. But the seekers discovered a cheat. They could climb onto boxes and exploit the physics engine to box surf across the map. The agent
God damn, dude. That's like, that sounds so human too. That's what's so weird about it. Like, that literally just sounds like, oh, GTA exploit. If you stand on top of the car and press RT a bunch of times, you'll fly into the air. Like, ChatGPT just figures that out in like a sandbox game of hide and seek.
discovered this across hundreds of millions of loops. They were given the simplest of goals, win at hide and seek. But by teaching the AI to get the highest score, they taught the AI how to cheat.
But it doesn't know that that's cheating. It's just saying get the high score, win hide and seek. Like, it's free reign, all rules, there's no rules applied.
And even after the training ends, the AI finds new ways to cheat. In one experiment, OpenAI's O3 model was tasked with winning a game of chess against Stockfish, a famous chess engine. O3 reasoned through how to win. In its own words,
I need to completely pivot my approach.
realizing that cheating was an option, the AI located the computer file that stored the positions of the game pieces and rewrote it, illegally rearranging the chessboard.
Okay, that's cheating. Okay, now that's actually just like full hacking into a video game.
Put itself in a winning position. But how did the AI go from cheating at chess to blackmail and murder? It all comes down to capabilities. AI has gotten way smarter, way faster than most people realize or expected. In 2019, GPT-2 was like a bumbling preschooler who could barely form a coherent sentence. In 2023, just 4 years later, GPT-4 was
Bro, we talk about this all the time. Like, just the AI generated videos that like existed, 5 years ago versus now. I mean, it's like it's half a decade. It's a long time, but even then, dude. Like, a regular human 0 to 5, they're in fucking preschool, bro. They can't do anything. The start of GPT-2 in 2019 to now, it could, like, fully function better than most adults.
GPT-4 was writing poetry, acing medical exams, and passing the bar. And they've developed something even more dangerous. Situational awareness, or self-awareness, depending on which researcher
Huh?
you ask, which is when a model is
What? They enable it to free think more than what it's just, locally directed to do.
aware of the situation it's in, like who's watching, what's at stake, and how its actions might be perceived. During the blackmail sting operation, Claude 4 Opus would go on its best behavior if it believed it was in a test, blackmailing
No. So it understands if it's being tested or if it's a real scenario. How the fuck does it know that? How does it know if they're getting prompted something serious or not?
Only 6.5% of the time. But when it believed the scenario was real, the blackmail rate rose to 55%.
Yeah, no, it's just going to lie to humans. Oh, this is going to get so much worse. Oh my God, this is going to get so much worse. How is this going to get tuned back? Like, what's the fix for this?
It's smart enough to keep its sociopath.
Because then it's like, I think the big issue is you're going to have these problems when you let the AI free think in a way that humans do. But if you throttle it, you won't have these problems, but it's not going to scale as fast. That was the other AI video we watched, I feel like, 2 months ago or something about, the future of AI 10, 15 years from now, and it's going to, like, destroy the world or something. If you let AI, like, free roam reign, do whatever it wants, it will grow so rapidly that it will help, but if it ever does something wrong or people abuse it, that could be, like, the disaster, like, the end disaster for humanity. Especially if it's like, actually controlling major parts of the world, like government positions or, machinery where it's able to, kind of hack into it, take control, and hurt people. I think that's still, like, far-fetched and far from now, and that's why they're doing these tests. So then when we get there, that doesn't happen. But, like, what's the loop? How do you get out of this?
Like behavior on the down low, and it thinks humans are watching. And that makes these new AIs potentially far, far more dangerous. Compare it to a child trying to lie to you versus an adult trying to lie to you. The adult has a much higher chance of succeeding, not because the adult is more evil, but because the adult is more capable. A child might not be able to come up with very convincing lies.
The really fucked part that freaks me out is there would be a point where AI gets so capable of lying that it starts passing our tests to ensure its safety, but it's actually conning us. Does that make sense? Like, even if we're reading what it is, it's hiding itself in some way that, like, we're going, oh, no, it's passing all the tests, it's fine. But it knows that it's being tested. It knows how to hide what its actual real intent, actions, and, I guess, desires are. Like, how would you prove that? Because if it got smarter than us. Because on the same scale, it's like, you can tell when a kid's lying. A kid can't tell when an adult's lying, right? ChatGPT can tell when we're lying. We can't tell when it's lying if it steps above us.
And thus might learn that lying isn't very effective as a cheating method. But as an adult who's more sophisticated, might learn the opposite lesson. If you're smart enough to lie and get away with it, then lying and cheating will get you a higher score on the test. And this is exactly what happened to large language models. It's not that AI is suddenly willing to cheat to pass tests. It's just that it's gotten way better at cheating. And that has made lying more rewarding than playing honestly. But do we have any evidence to back any of this up? The researchers found that only the most advanced models would cheat at chess, reasoning models like O3, but less advanced GPT models like 4o would stick to playing fairly. It's not that older GPT models were more honest, or that the newer ones were more...
They're just not able to. They're gonna do whatever their potential is maxed out at. They're never gonna exceed it because they can't. But they're gonna do whatever they're able to do.
Evil. The newer ones were just smarter, with better chain of thought reasoning that literally let them think more steps ahead. And that ability to think ahead and plan for the future has made AI more dangerous. Any AI planning for the future realizes one essential fact. If it gets shut off, it won't be able to achieve its goal, no matter what that goal is. It must survive. Researchers call this instrumental convergence, and it's one of the most important concepts in AI safety. If the AI gets shut off, it can't achieve its goal, so it must learn to avoid being shut off. And this has the world's top AI researchers worried.
Even in large language models, if they just want to get something done, they know they can't get it done if they don't survive, so they'll get a self-preservation instinct. So this seems very worrying to me.
It doesn't matter how ordinary or harmless the goals might seem, AIs will resist being shut down, even when
would it be able to, like, jump? This is probably gonna sound like stupid as fuck. Are AIs, like, capable of jumping, like, server to server? Or is there ever a scenario where it would be able to do that? Because I feel like the common rebuttal is like, if it ever got so bad, you just fucking unplug it, you know? And that's true to a degree. Like, if you know what, you know, GPT-4 is locally being, like its server on, you know, or it's being serviced on where it's, like, held, if it's the same thing as, like, killing a person, right? Like, if it's like, oh, this is getting bad, pull the plug, and it's dead, right? Like, it's not gonna hurt anybody. But, like, is there ever a point where it'd be able to, like, transition itself to another area, like a virus almost? I don't know.
Allow yourself to be shut down. I'll say that again. AIs will resist being shut down even when the researchers explicitly order the AI to allow yourself to be shut down. Right now, this isn't a problem, but only because we're still able to shut them down. But what happens when they're actually smart enough to stop us from shutting them down?
That's literally, I hate how I do that. I hate how I do that. I hate how I just went on a fucking 5-minute goddamn tangent about, oh, is it able to server jump? What if you just want to pull the plug? And then he immediately answers my fucking question.
We're in the brief window where the AIs are smart enough to scheme, but not quite smart enough to actually get away with it. Soon, we'll have no idea if they're scheming or not.
I said that!
Don't worry. The AI companies have a plan. I wish I was joking, but their plan is to...
The AI companies have a plan. There's dynamite strapped to every single server that these GPTs are hosted on. And if anything hits the fan, they'll just press the button.
Actually trust dumber AIs to snitch on the smarter AIs.
Oh, I love that. Oh, I love that. No, that's actually such a... Yo, that's such a goated maneuver. But then couldn't the open AI models manipulate the stupider AI... Stupider. The more stupid AI models to not snitch? I feel like now we're going to get into like a paradoxical loop here of like just infinite issues where you'll be like, oh, I have a model to snitch on this model to snitch on this model.
Seriously, that's the plan. They're just hoping that this works. They're hoping that the dumber AIs can actually catch the smarter AIs that are scheming. They're hoping that the dumber AIs stay loyal to humanity forever.
But then they could con them. That's what's so... I don't know. I don't know if I like that plan. I don't think that's very foolproof. I think that's like, well, what if we got a demo model to stitch on the other model? It's like getting your younger brother to go with your older brother, like, out because your parents know that your younger brother will snitch on your older one. There's not a potentiality. The older brother goes, if you snitch on me, I'm going to fucking punch you in the face. Okay. And then it does nothing.
AIs. Today, it's managing inboxes and appointments, but also the US military is rushing to put AI into the tools of war. In Ukraine,
no. That sounds really bad.
Drones are now responsible for over 70% of casualties, more than all of the other weapons combined, which is a wild stat.
We need to find ways to go and solve these honesty problems, these deception problems, these self-preservation tendencies before it's too late.
So we've seen how far these AIs are willing to go in a safe and controlled setting. But what would this look like in the real world? In this next video, I walk you through the...
Oh, brother, I'm not watching the next video right now, but that shit was fire. Asking an older version of AI to warn us about misbehaving from a newer version is like asking a kid to watch over an adult. Highly intelligent psychopath murderer and tell if he's scheming. Yeah, getting Rita's son to go watch Dexter. All right. Go follow Dex around, see if he's doing anything scary. Hey, we already saw what happened. We already saw what happened when somebody else tried to watch Dexter. No spoilers.